This is what you've all been waiting for, episode 1 of our epic NC500 road trip. One of the most scenic drives in the EU, and it's right here in the UK. In this episode, we'll be taking you through the history of the NC500, why it's been on our bucket list for the past 3 or 4 years. We'll be looking at the route we took, the time of year that we decided to take the trip, the major landmarks along the way, and some of the hidden gems that are off the beaten track. But before we dive into the journey itself, let's take you behind the scenes of how we pulled all of this together. Because it wasn't just a case of chucking the stuff in the van and off we drive. This was a 10-day trip, and it's a long way up north, so it took a couple of weeks of planning. So if you or someone you know are planning and completing the NC500, like and subscribe. You don't want to miss out. So like I said, let's go straight to planning.
Okay, so we've heard an intro from Wayne, the face for the film, and unlucky for you, you now have me, the voiceover, as my face is definitely for radio. Let me take you back to the start. One weekend evening, sat around with friends having tea, as in our house the kettle is always on. We should plan a road trip away in the van, says one person from the group. I've heard the NC500's epic, says another. We are the kind of friends who don't need much encouragement to say yes to anything. So, as many great adventures do, we sat down at the dining table and started planning. We drew a very rough map thanks to the help of Google Maps and pinpointed the main landmarks on the NC500 route. We then went away and compiled our lists as individuals of places that we'd like to see after completing a lot of research. Well, scrolling through social media platforms to see other people's recommendations, to be honest. Then came the planning night 2. Yep, there was 100% more tea, and if I remember rightly, a cheeky takeaway to keep us all awake. From the research that we had all done, from the hours of searching for recommendations, we were pumped. This road trip called the NC500 that we've been hearing about for years sounded too good to be true. A 516-mile loop around the north coast of Scotland that promised wild landscapes, remote beaches and roads where sheep outnumbered people. Picture perfect at every bend. Too good to be true? Naturally, we couldn't wait, so the next bank holiday was when we were going to go. This just happened to be May. And to be honest, in our opinion, this is the best time before the midges get too confident, while the Highlands were just waking up for the winter and before the mad rush in the summer. It's that kind of sweet spot where the days are long and the roads aren't packed and everything feels just a little bit more magical. So now I've waffled on for a little bit too long, let me give you an overview of the plan we settled on. So, we kicked things off at Inverness Castle, the official starting point of the NC500. The weather was surprisingly decent for Scotland, you know, the jacket on, sunglasses in the pocket kind of day. However, as you have probably seen from our previous sneak peek videos, the weather changed from hour to hour. We had 4 seasons in one day. Well, minus the snow, thank goodness. We chose to do the NC500 anti-clockwise, heading north first because, well, again, in our opinion, it's the only way to do it. You have to save the dramatic west coast for the second half. When you are fully in road trip mode, you will get tired of saying how beautiful the views are. First stop, the Black Isles. Though don't be fooled by the name, it's neither black nor an island. Then we cruised up the east coast, passing through charming towns like Dornoch, where we stopped for a bite and nearly lost an hour just staring out at the beaches. Then came the fairy tale, which is Dunrobin Castle, the kind of place you half expect to glimpse a Disney princess waving her long golden hair out of the balcony. Eventually we made it to John O'Groats, which, yes, is typically just a wee village with a famous signpost. But standing there at the northeasterly point edge of the UK, with the sea stretching out in front of you, is something else. The campsite is also one of the best that we've stayed in. From there, the route turned rugged. Be warned, the north coast is wild, with its dramatic cliffs, wide open skies, and single-track roads where every corner feels like a postcard. You have to see it to believe it. We stopped at some iconic landmarks, which we will share more details in the upcoming day-by-day videos that we post weekly. Then came the West Coast, and trust me, this is where it gets really unreal. Surrounded by jagged peaks and ancient rocks, we stayed the night near Lochinvar and opened the van doors to views in the morning you just can't believe. Our final leg took us through the most dramatic mountain passes in the UK. Hairpin bends, no guardrails, and views that looked like the Scottish version of the Alps. And before we knew it, we were rolling back into Inverness, full of stories we'll probably be retelling for the next 10 years, wishing we could do it all again. The NC500 isn't just a road trip, it's an adventure through some of the wildest and most beautiful places in the UK. And if you've got a few good friends or a sense of independent adventure, a reliable van, and a playlist, trust me, this is one for the bucket list. The NC500 was officially launched in 2015 by the North Highlands Initiative. The goal: to connect visitors with the wild, untouched beauty of the Highlands and bring new energy into its remote communities. In just a few short years, it's become Scotland's answer to Route 66, drawing adventurers from across the globe. So now you've heard about the planning stage. Stay tuned as each week we break down the day-by-day activities and adventures that we completed to help you plan a road trip to remember. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hi guys, it's me again. Here's our essential packing guide that we've created to help you. And our top 5 must-haves include a bug zapper or mozzie spray, a long waterproof warm coat, cash or change, walking boots, and don't forget the beers for when you're parked up watching those amazing sunsets. Enjoy!